I think it's time to do some right-wing cope before we get into the main course that is the John Doyle debate. So let's see what they've been up to lately, shall we? No, is there nobody left here from the 2015 The Donald and 4chan roots? We memed Emperor Trump into office. Meme magic is real. Boomers and doomers need to study up. Yeah, because your 63-year-old grandfather who decided to vote for Trump because he thought he'd bring his coal job back. Regular 4chan shit poster. Spends a lot of time in B. That's a good look for him. He should stick with that. MMO Addicted says, I am triggered that she's cooking in such nice clothes. Cooking is messy. Put an apron on, Caitlin. That's how you can tell she doesn't actually cook. Biden says, on this National Day of Action and Healing, my administration stands united with the Asian American community in the face of rising violence. Hate can have no safe harbor in America. It must stop, and it's on all of us together to make it stop. Cares, win a real election or I'm coughing on people. Jesus Christ. Someone sent me this earlier, but I wanted to save it for this. This is, a politician in Montana. I don't know if it's their governor or whatever, but he had this to say.
The flood of Mexican meth, Mexican heroin, Mexican fentanyl. 20 years ago in Montana, meth was homemade. It was homegrown. And it had purity levels less than 30%. Today, the meth that is getting into Montana is Mexican cartel.
You got it. We need more mom and pop meth shops. Back in my day, bikers would cook meth in a trailer until it exploded, and we liked it. Logarth with 20 bits, just cook naked. That's a good idea until you gotta cook some bacon, and then it's a disaster waiting to happen, okay? Sorry, I'm just checking something real quick. They should look at forgiving medical debt for cancer patients instead of student loans. Education is a choice. Cancer is not. Porque no los dos. You can do both. I think we should do both. Let's go with both. Probably a Lannister. Thank you for subscribing for 5 months. Thrashmeo says, they took our myth! Bardlock Moses says, Walter White wasn't the good guy. Yeah, he's a bad dude. My bread pill moment came about when this isn't true, by the way. This is a parody post of Ben. This is not real. My hashtag red pill moment came about when I turned 7 years old. My mom sent me to school with cupcakes for my birthday, and the teacher made me share them with my classmates, even the poor ones whose mothers never sent cupcakes for their birthdays. The rage of that day has never left me. Remember that time someone said to Bernie Sanders, like, you should have to share your birthday cake with other people because you're a socialist, Bernie. And then everyone just dunked on him because they're like, yeah, that's how birthday cake works. You're not supposed to eat a whole cake by yourself. It's not to say I never have, but you're really not supposed to. Overthought with 50 bits says microlab meth, and then all the hipsters move in. I'm thinking of a meth dispensary with the same, like, sort of... You ever go to, like, a weed dispensary? A legal one, obviously, it's a dispensary, and it's kind of like a chill, you know, because it's a bunch of stoners who run it, for the most part. I like to imagine the same thing, but for meth, a meth dispensary, and everyone's like, they're just trying to get off the clock. No employee of the meth place has worked there for longer than a week, because they all end up stealing the meth. I shouldn't make light of people with meth addictions. It's horrifying, but, you know. Nowhere. Conservatism is literally about keeping everything as is. Ironically, it's called a movement. No, it isn't. It's about maintaining order and core values as the everything else inevitably changes. God. The thing is, though, conservatism isn't even that anymore. Conservatism isn't them being like, all right, where we are now, let's stop. Oh, hi, Squid. Welcome. It's not that. It's them being like, hey, you know this? Not even the real 1950s where there were strong unions and high tax rates for the wealthy or anything. They're imaginary Leave It to Beaver 1950s. They're like, let's go back to that. No more gay people or non-white people. Like, no, that's not conservatism. Oh, God. 4-spot parking with a placard in the back that says Pence is a traitor with a noose. That's a threat. Don't do that. Picture of Donald Trump on a golf course. I would love to cruise around with him. I probably wouldn't even say anything, just enjoy his company. Same. I'd give so much to hang out with him. Trump is one of those guys I'd love to just hear him talk for hours. Tell me old business stories. Spend an hour listening to him talk about rando shit would literally be better than an MBA from any school you could attend. Here's his class on business, okay? Let me see if I can turn this down. I feel like I'm being very loud. I don't know why. 1 sec. Is that any better? Maybe a little quieter? I don't know. I don't want to blow out your ears. Trump's advice on how to be rich is have a wealthy father who happens to own a lot of real estate in New York right before real estate prices in New York go absolutely bananas. That's a good way to be wealthy. This is for canceling cartoons, and then it's Curious George putting bananas on the staircase to Air Force One. Well, first of all, the Secret Service is about to pop a cap in Curious George. Curious George is about to go down as a martyr. Secondly, what cartoons has Biden canceled? I didn't realize that the president had the power to cancel cartoons. Who took Codename Kids Next Door from me? God damn it. Look, this country needs a change of party. You can't have just Democrats in charge. It's not going to happen, and it's not good for the country. The Democrats do not think resources are finite. Resources are finite. I'm enough of a centrist to look at the Green New Deal and say, what world do you people live in that you're going to give everyone a job and you stuck that in a climate bill? You must not be serious about climate. You must be singing the theme song of the Internationale and reading Marx. Do you want the party to be in charge forever? No, not me. Boy, it's almost like it actually goes into detail about expanding different sectors and putting government funding into developing green energy technologies in all sorts of fields that would help the climate long term, that would employ people. Funny how that works, huh? Caitlin Bennett says, let's be honest, liberals hate me because I'm beautiful. I'm white, and I have a stable relationship. They hate that I'm happy while they're miserable and can't even get a text back. I might feel sorry for them if they weren't such nasty people. And then someone shows a Liberty Hangout tweet from 2016, which is real. I've fact-checked this before. You can find the archive. They've since deleted this tweet, but if you go into the Wayback Machine, you can find this tweet. Liberty Hangout says, asking out of curiosity, do you believe the Holocaust happened as we've been told? And then someone says, what do you think? And Liberty Hangout responds, it doesn't seem possible that 6 million were killed. So Caitlin, if you're in a stable relationship, okay, but you're in a stable relationship with a Holocaust denier, her boyfriend, or husband rather, runs the Liberty Hangout Twitter to my knowledge, so that's great. Gun ownership is a more important right than voting. Voting is not really a human right at all, but a privilege that should be reserved for those who are qualified to do it properly. It should be easier to buy a gun than vote, but it isn't. I feel like at the point you start taking away people's right to vote, their right to own guns is about to get pretty up close and personal with the people who don't allow them to vote. Let's just say that. Who says this? Like, the entire point, at least from what the right tells me of the Second Amendment, is to stop the government from becoming tyrannical. And if the government starts arbitrarily deciding which adults can and cannot vote, that sounds like tyranny to me, friend. TNAV, thanks for subscribing for 6 months. Yeah, it's a Matt Walsh take. Surprise. Boom, Sidney Powell laying the wood via Telegram, RE Dominion. We will take them to the mat. For those who don't know, Sidney Powell, she is a lawyer, but she was a former lawyer working with the Trump campaign on the dozens and dozens of failed court cases after the election. And she's still grifting, and now she's being sued by Dominion, which is the company that does some, polling machines, because she was claiming that they fixed the election or whatever. Of course, they did not. And now she's posturing about it. We weren't fooled, Sydney, with you to the glorious end. Edit. By the way, I gotta presume this is Sydney, as I know she wouldn't have taken that lying down. But can someone in fact confirm that this Telegram presence of hers is legit? I don't do this Telegraph thing. Yeah, I don't know what website that is. Participation trophy. Yeah. Oh yeah, Caitlin Bennett tweets, I love my WAP. White American privilege. Oh no! Hold on, let's go over this point by point. We're gonna do a little bit of contemporary art critique, okay? I gotta get some... Okay. So what we have here are the paranoid delusions of a mad person. This is a mandatory vaccine checkpoint in which police officers who are labeled vaccine enforcement with patches that are the Star of David that say Zion on them. So this is an anti-Semitic meme, if you want to call it that. And then we have someone who's about to vaccinate a child. Presumably the mother is on the ground screaming. Yeah, that's a big yikes. That's going to be a yikes for me. Zealous55, I got my first vax yesterday. That picture is completely accurate. That's true. Baha actually had her first dose last Tuesday. And she said the checkpoint was very efficient. All the anti-vaxxers were immediately restrained, and the police injected them with medicine. So, why is that cop's knee not on her neck? She's white. Wowzers. Someone uses a racial slur in that one. At least it's bleeped out. And that guy's followed by Senate Republicans. Beautiful. Anyone else think these shootings are fundraisers for the Dem agenda? When Democrats don't get their way, they get dangerous. Yes, John Wilkes Booth, proponent of the South and slavery, would definitely be in favor of modern-day Democrats. Overthought says, Norman Roswell painting. You mean Rockwell? Bill Clinton ran for re-election on a platform that said, we cannot tolerate illegal immigration, we must stop it. President Biden has instead emphasized the humane treatment of immigrants regardless of their legal status. Am I supposed to think that's a bad thing? I don't even think that's necessarily accurate if you've seen, like, where people and children are still being held by the Biden administration, but, like, who's like, I'm for the inhumane treatment of immigrants? Activist Milo Yiannopoulos says he's now, quote, ex-gay and, quote, sodomy-free, says salvation can only be achieved through devotion to Christ. What happened to his, racial slur husband? He is no longer F-slur married to a racial slur. I couldn't give a rat's ass what his racial slur ass banging Q-word grifter says. Wowzers. What website is this? Gab? What's the opposite of shocked? That's how I'm feeling right now. Osama bin Laden was more badass than the American left because at least he managed to atone. No. Nope. I think we already read that one. Anyway. Matt Walsh, theocratic fascist. Yikes. It's been reported that paper stimulus checks are not signed by the fake POTUS, but the real one. If anyone gets one, will you take a pic and share? Alright, we're on the part where we've seen the rest from that Twitter page. Let's see what Right Wing Watch is up to, if we have any good videos or anything.
Anytime you trip, walk, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Biden probably won't even last 4 years. Anytime you trip walking up the stairs, that's a problem. That look like a cognitive problem to me.
That's right.
Okay? So
Okay, if he's no longer the president, then Kamala Harris becomes the president, and that's fine, I don't really care. That's why we have a vice president elected.
he probably won't make it 4 years. Listen, I wish that the military would step in and take over.
Yes.
Because we got 3 people that call themselves the most powerful people that's supposed to be in charge. Larry, Carly, and Mo need to go somewhere and sit down. Allow the military to take over from here. Because these people go.
Gosh dang, all these... I really, really hope the military, especially these days, is really hammering into the heads of people in the military. Like, hey, I don't care what your personal political opinion is, but you don't get to do a coup. Because a lot of Republicans are foaming at the mouth for the military to destroy over 200 years of American democracy. And I'd really appreciate it, as someone who lives here, if that didn't happen. That'd be cool. I don't think anyone would get treated very well under military rules, so let's not do it.
Bankrupt this whole country and gonna have us living in danger and a disaster.
What's your view as to, real quick, we have 30 seconds, why should the military take over? Because of what? From a national security standpoint? Is that what you're saying?
From a national security standpoint, and to get to the bottom of what the American people saw in the 2020 election.
That's
We
right.
cannot forget or forgive that.
Our country is under siege.
I
We
can't believe they're still on about this goddamn conspiracy theory shit.
see it. They know it. It's all a big fat lie. We need somebody to come in with some common sense and take over. If not, our country will be going to hell in a handbasket.
Let me tell you something.
Jesus Christ. Big yikes, Frankie. Thanks for subscribing with 4 months. Says, love watching your stream. Usually you have to catch them on YouTube, but I'm glad I could hop in today and say, hi, that lipstick shade is bomb. Thank you. MMO Addicted with 100 bits says, I'm pretty sure they do, at least in my best friend's unit, they're doing obligatory classes about right-wing extremism and the dangers of it. That's good. Hardlock Moses says, they don't get that political in the army, but I was only in for 6 years. Well, that's good.
Now, I know someone could say, well, the President Trump wasn't humble. Rush Limbaugh wasn't humble. I beg to differ. Because, see, I think this is how you define humility. It is not, oh, woe is me. Oh, I'm so low. Oh, I'm so down. Oh, I'm so broken. Oh, I can't. It's not that. You know?
Okay, but it's at least restraining yourself from constantly saying you're the best all the time and that you're always right. That's the difference.
You know what it is? It's agreeing with God and seeking to obey him. That is humility. And believe it or not, I really believe that that's what President Trump was trying to do. His style might have been different than some people would have chosen, but I think that's what he was trying to do.
Oh, he did a really shitty
And I
job
think
then.
that is true humility.
Daylight Reckoning, thanks for subscribing. Selinja, thanks for subscribing with Prime. And Lily Loves Stuff with 20 bits says, rhinestones and polyester are still a thing. Why not? Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene saying something. Oh, yeah, I remember that one. I think we already saw that.
She shouldn't make because this whore is unlikable. Megan Rapinoe thinks that she doesn't make the money she should make because fucking she's a female. No, Megan, you don't make the money that the men make because you're not as talented and you're not fucking entertaining and you're an unlikable twat. That's why. Ask Brandi Chastain how shit turned out. She lost her shirt after the fucking Women's World Cup one time, pulled out her titties, fucking huge payday. Huge payday. Why? Because everybody loved her. She was passionate and she showed us her boobs. And that was awesome.
Holy shit. Will these troglodytes just go away? Leading QAnon decoder Dave Hayes, aka Praying Medic, complains that HBO's documentary portrays QAnon followers as a bunch of, quote, oddballs and outcasts. Have you guys seen the, I think the first 2 episodes are out of the QAnon documentary, Q Into the Storm on HBO and HBO Max and stuff? Pretty interesting. They haven't gotten, I don't know, it's only 2 episodes in. I think I only watched the first one, but it's okay. Aria Julie, thanks for subscribing for 3 months. In fairness, I already know a lot of the Q stuff because I look into it a lot, and I talk about it on the show a lot, especially on Tinfoil Tuesdays, because it's like a really popular conspiracy theory. So maybe I found it a little less interesting just because I knew a lot of the stuff already, but at the very least, it's well put together. I'd recommend it if you want to learn more about Q. Anyway, one of the Q people had a response to the first couple episodes. Ever since Q began posting, opponents have portrayed him or her as a moral zealot obsessed with the idea that Hillary Clinton eats babies. This trope is found in the first couple paragraphs of nearly every mainstream article about Q. Hoback found a group of Q decoders willing to confirm this claim. I respect their passion for victims of child trafficking, but Q has never once claimed that Hillary Clinton eats babies. Most Q posts discussed FISA abuse, government corruption, corporate fraud, and media dishonesty. This is the interesting thing about Q, is that even though the Q posts, as they're called, or the Q drops, rather, are the primary text, the red words in the Bible, if you will, of the Q cult, there are all these add-ons, right? People start to conspire, and I don't mean in a conspiracy way, but people in these communities start to come up with their own ideas. And then the most popular conspiratorial ideas start to proliferate throughout the community. And those ideas become part of the canon, more or less, of Q mythology, even though it's not necessarily something Q has ever directly said. And let's be clear, Q very rarely directly says anything anyway. It's always nonsense, and that's the intent, is that any conspiracy theorist can read their favorite pet conspiracy into the Q drops. But yeah, the adrenochrome child abduction, eating babies thing is quite large in the Q community. This guy might be embarrassed by it, but, I mean, get a different community then. Sleepy Little Satyr, thanks for subscribing with a 9-month streak. Sub baby time. Ariel. This baby's name is Ariel. Although Hoback does show a number of Q posts, none is explained other than a couple of proofs. There are no decodes, Q messages aren't put into context, and their meanings are not explored. Again, because you're already reading meanings into them, that doesn't mean those meanings are implicit or explicit in any way. You are bringing meaning to them. They're not being shown to you through the posts. Like every mainstream article, film, or investigative report, the goal is not to explain Q's messages, it's to portray Q in the most negative light possible. Since opponents don't talk to Q in person, they smear him by creating absurd caricatures of his followers and claim, "This is QAnon." Hoback doesn't deviate from the script. He does his best to portray those who endorse Q as oddballs and outcasts. Again, no, I saw at least the first episode. Seems about spot on. They seem to describe the beliefs of a lot of QAnon people pretty accurately. The thing about QAnon is that people who believe it tend to believe it a little differently than everyone else in the same belief group. It's very, very individualized, the sort of like models that each Q believer has in what Q is saying. And that's, I think, why it's an effective conspiracy theory, but gone on and around about that enough.
Types and forms.
Oh, God.
I know that there's many different types and forms of that vaccine, which is true. There's about 4 or 5 different versions of it. This is the thing. I may have trusted it when Trump was sitting where the villain, fraudulent person is sitting, but because they're not, I won't trust it. I'm like,
is it pizza? Oh, it smells good.
Steve, I don't trust it. I don't.
What kind? From where? Nice.
I don't know what's in it. I don't know the makeup of it. I know there's sources that have so many conspiracy theories.
Yes.
Almost about anything you can think of today, there's a theory for it. I'm not taking it. That's my answer, and I will not take it. And I would suggest...
I'll just eat the breadstick on its own. I'll take it dry.
If you are
Thank you.
not in any way prone to thinking you have symptoms, why would you?
Oh, yeah. Did you bring enough for the rest of the class?
Yeah, the rest of the class.
No, they're all on the internet, so...
You're gonna have to make that into a bunch of different pieces.
Okay, we have... I gotta cut this into 200-some pieces, then.
Okay, have fun.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, I'm gonna eat a dry breadstick, chat, okay? I'm a carb vampire.
Not even concede that as a result of her ownership of about $14 million worth of shares in Aventor, when Senator Grassley asked whether she had personally profited from the would not.
Nice. What flavor? Sweet.
Political extremists coming in and promoting violence.
What we're going to have is on there. Most of this is your news, is already news outlets that are out there. And I don't think there's anybody out there that is promoting violence. I don't believe that now.
You're wrong. I've seen it.
I see all the cancel culture out there. That's the excuse they're using. If anybody promoted violence in our country, start with my governor of Minnesota back last spring when he promoted violence by saying, okay, everybody wreck Minneapolis, and our mayor, some of the worst political decisions ever made. No one's going to be on there promoting violence, and you're going to be looking at it. We'll be looking at it, and I just think all of these influencers you already know what contents they have, and it's not like they don't get to come over as an influencer if they're some nut jobs promoting violence.
So basically, he's not going to do anything when the inevitable violence gets talked about on his platform. Squid says, the real butter was the friends we made along the way. Buttery friends. So Krispy Kreme is offering a free daily donut for a year if you get the COVID vaccination and have the card, which is great. I don't think you should eat Krispy Kreme every day. Those donuts are delicious, but holy shit, are they bad for you. I'm glad there isn't actually any Krispy Kremes near me. I would be even fatter. But that's a good deal. That's nice. And then this person says, ever since we were little kids, we've always been told when someone tries to lure you in somewhere offering you free candy, run far away because they're probably a lying pedo serial killer. If something's so great, why the hell do they have to sell it so hard and try to lure us in with free candy? You're an adult. I don't think anyone's gonna try and lure you in with free candy for nefarious purposes. Oh my god, it's Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Devil's herd, putting him in the back of my... I'm known for, taking the bad guy, the devil...
Aren't you known for using the N-word?
Devil's herd, putting him in the...
And the world's worst mullet?
Back of my car while in custody and pouring Jesus down their throat. So I asked the Lord the other day, is this the way that I should go now? Am I going to go into all this full blast? And I remember I was brought to memory about how Jesus' disciples, when he said he was coming, they said, Master, give us a hint. Tell us, when. And Jesus said, okay, I'll give you some hints. And he did. And he said, and the last thing that shall happen is knowledge shall abound. And I believe the day that Google came out, now knowledge shall have started coming out everywhere, abounding. And the Bible says, in those last days, which we are now, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Well, here I am, all flesh. And I'm telling you, the spirit is being poured out on me and my girl. Amen. And all across the world right now. There are miracles happening. I walk everywhere I go. There isn't people, I love your show, dog. It's I love Jesus too, dog.
Jesus Christ. Doodleburb says, wouldn't Krispy Kreme be more like a parent who's rewarding their child for doing the right thing? I wish Krispy Kreme was my dad.
See a different Trump. Most people are expecting the Trump they saw these past 4 years. Mm-hmm. That's what they're thinking. They're asking, this and the power and all that. Saints, that was the old Trump. He is also a servant and a child of God. And the Lord is doing something internally in Trump. And it's going to be powerful. When you see him, it's just like Moses coming back from the mountain of Mount Sinai. His face looked different. His demeanor was different. His tone was different, yet the authority was there. The authority was there. The position was there. But you can tell. We are going to tell, and we're going to see that Trump, Donald Trump, I want to make it very clear because, you know, like I said, I don't watch the media, things like that. And I just like to just listen to what the Lord is saying. The Lord has not changed his mind. I want to make it very clear to everyone.
When are these people gonna learn that this shit is just wrong? Kirthan with 100 bits says, happy birthday to my wonderful fiance, Jessica. Happy birthday, Jessica. I hope you're having a good one.
At it. Now, I believe that's a God thing, that they didn't look at it. Now,
he's trying to explain why the Supreme Court didn't want to look at his lawsuit.
I believe that's a God thing, that they didn't look at it. Now they're going to have to look at it because everyone's going to already know the evidence. And when you put it to them, it's going to be like a poker hand. If somebody's cheating next to me, and he's looking at my cards, when I want him out, if I got a good hand, I might just show him my hand. We're going to show all the evidence. So when you bring it before the court, it's all going to be there for everyone to see in the world, which they've already seen it for weeks before this. Now the Supreme Court, if they don't take it, they're going to be under. I'm a marketer. I'm doing everything we can to take away a reason why they would not look at it. Why would they not look at it? Well, you know what? Let's say that they're compromised. Well, you know what? There's going to be so much pressure that if you don't look at it, people are going to know you're compromised. Okay?
Jesus Christ. Why is there so much just right-wing nonsense? Every day there's more. This is we already saw this one in a previous one, but I just gotta play it again.
Something has happened. I believe the answer is demonism. I believe it's satanic. I believe we're watching a global event take place that the Bible warned us about all along. And Satan traffics in the world of confusion. And if he can get someone confused in this area, he robs them of their God-given gender because he made that person a male or a female for a purpose to bring him glory. If Satan can...
Maybe God made me for a purpose to be trans on the internet and shitpost. Thanks, Jesus. You're my homie, Jesus. Can I say homie? Is that allowed? I don't know.
Get them confused. They're young, early. Notice Satan always goes after the young. Then if he can't kill them in the womb, he'll kill them in the head and confuse them. I believe we're watching a global demonic sway of the wicked one upon our culture in the world. And that sounds harsh, but I'm sorry, it's true. It's just true.
Puka, thanks for the 200 bits. Excuse me. What do you think about the evergreen situation in the Suez Canal? In case anyone is watching this video on YouTube long after the fact. What's the boat called? The ship Evergreen? Let's look. I assume if you're watching this today, though, you probably have seen the memes. So the Suez Canal, a canal which facilitates between 10 and 12% of all world trade, has been completely blocked up because a boat has... Hold on. A boat has gotten stuck in the Suez Canal, and it stopped all traffic for days. So... yes, thank you, chat. The thick ship is blocking 10% of world trade because someone ran into the wall. It doesn't look stuck. It is. It's stuck. If you see the, I don't know, the nautical terms, basically, here's a zoomed in picture. It ran aground, at least the front, and they weren't able to... This is a better angle. It'll kind of show you. It basically wedged itself in and ran aground on the shore a bit. And it's a huge, huge ship. So they're having trouble moving it. They've had this excavator trying to sort of move some of the dirt that it ran into, but so far it's still stuck. I imagine in the next couple days they'll do it because, you know, there's a huge traffic jam going on. It's pretty interesting, though. So this person says, what do y'all think about the evergreen situation in the Suez Canal? Are you seeing the symbolic messages? What does the Suez Canal spell backward? Zeus. How does this relate to God and Lucifer? Is the king of the gods on Olympus more like Lucifer or more like Jesus? What does... I don't even think that's where the Suez Canal gets its name. Can I go back and read your comment? Probably. I'll do it in a second. Stone Corbell says, did you see that people have written erotic fan fiction of the Evergreen and the Excavator? Of course they have. Dude Spanking Dude says, I have some great news for you. My brother's girlfriend looked at you and said, is she streaming? Hannah, you passed so well. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. What happens in the canal? Trade? What sea does the canal connect to the south? How does the blocking of the canal with a ship with the word Evergreen on it, which some believe contains trafficked children, symbolically represent an event that happened in Exodus? Does God speak to us in signs and wonders? Are we ever truly without the guidance of the divine? So, the Q people have picked up on this and decided that it's something to do with that. It's not. Okay, so that's probably enough right-wing cope, right? That's good. There's more, but we'll save it for another time. We gotta move on. We got a lot of stuff to look at today. We're almost an hour into the stream. I really wish they'd chill out, though. That would be nice.